Welcome to the Beat LA podcast. My name is Matt Ferrucci. I am a writer-director in Los Angeles, and I am joined by a man who always sends back a martini served to him in a plastic cup, Mr. Paul Rule. Paulie, how are you?
Oh, Matt, I'm all right. I feel like we should play in taps or something, and not taps in a good way, like beer taps, but like the sad version after our beloved Niners.
You ever see the movie Taps with, who was in the movie Taps? Remember, was
Tom
that?
Cruise, among other people, Timothy Hutton.
Yes.
Yeah, Tom Cruise was in it. Tom Cruise, that was his big break.
Is this us trying not to talk about what we should be talking about? Like we're getting into a Taps thing?
Yeah, anything to avoid what happened. I'm happy to talk about my martini that I got in the plastic cup too. That was after the game. I almost got in a fight.
Okay, no, let's save that for your pet peeve. For pet peeve
I
corner.
got a couple of pet peeves this week. If anyone's watching, I've got my Giants hat on. It's not because I've turned the page to baseball yet, because it's black and I'm in mourning.
True. Yeah, no, I dig it.
And I'm wearing my Sopranos tracksuit because I feel like maybe we got to take a hit out on somebody.
I like the tracksuit, Paul. It looks very like you're getting into some English Premier League soccer, very Ted Lasso collection, I think.
I'm kind of one wing down. I'm sort of a Jeffrey Leonard right now, running around the bases. I'm playing a little hurt today, Matt. It was kind of a big weekend.
Speaking of Jeff Leonard, are you one flap down? You're two flaps down.
I'm two flaps down. I'm every flap down.
Well, folks, let's get into this. Welcome to a very special Beat LA podcast. It's kind of like those after school specials they used to have. Remember that very special home improvement episode where one of the kids found out they were going to die of cancer? I feel like this is a special episode of the Beat LA podcast. Paul, in the immortal words of Bradley Cooper in The Hangover,
it happened again.
Don't say that, please.
No, this time we really fucked up.
Seriously, what is wrong with you three?
Dude, I was there.
You were.
Matt, and we're going to get into that. I don't know if it was worse in person or on the television, but either way, it was a three-peat of the worst kind. It was, as all movies, when they get to the third sequel, they tend to suck. This was the third one of these, and it sucked the most.
No, it's great. You're right. That's a great comp. This was the third sequel. It's kind of like Lethal Weapon 3.
Well, you know what I say? They fuck you in the hospital. First they drug you, then they fuck you. And when they're done fucking you, along comes the insurance company and fucks you some more.
Folks, I'll tell you, on today's pod, let's just get into it. Today's pod, we're recording this on Tuesday, February 13th. It's been 48 hours since
February
the debacle.
13th, give me my numbers. Fucking 13, unlucky 13. Oh, that was unlucky 11, which I like. So let's not get started on that. Keep going, Matt.
Okay. On today's pod, we're going to recap Paul's trip to Vegas, recap the game ever so lightly, delicately. It's going to be an extended self-help corner to help the listeners. We have a guest. We'll be talking with Khalil Tams, the creator of the wildly popular 49Talks on Instagram. Then a little Giants, little Warriors, finish up with the best things. Let's get right into it, Paulie. We tried to get Beat LA therapist Nick Moyaris on the pod, but he's in a conference in New York. You got some space. It's been 48 hours. Paul, how's the mind? How's the mindset? What are we thinking?
Oh, yeah. And where do we begin exactly? The mindset's okay, Matt. I mean, look, it was a great run. We're lucky that we get to this last game most years. And so, it could be the Carolina Panthers or something, right? But this one hurt. For a bunch of different reasons. I was looking for signs, right? I saw the Ayuk ladybug all over Allegiant Stadium. The gal next to me had one on her boot. When I went out to the concourse to get a beer, this guy high-fived me right at the start of the fourth quarter. He had one on his hat. I don't know. I somehow I thought this was our year, but it didn't happen. And we got to mourn it. I think this episode, Matt, you always, after we record, you reach out and you say, hey, Paul, what should we name the episode? I think this one's got a good title already. Misery loves company, folks. At least listening to like-minded souls like us. If you're a Niner fan, hopefully we can bring a little some laughs and solace to a dark, dark week. Don't watch SportsCenter either.
Yeah, well, that's great advice, Paul. And you are the Count of Negdom, and your glass is half full, usually because you've drunk half the glass already, literally speaking. But, I talked to a couple people after we lost. You texted me the pod's over. I texted you the pod's done. Let's not record Tuesday. No one will fucking listen. And then about 30 minutes happened and you texted me, we got to do it. People want to know. People need the levity. You kind of went there first, like, let's be there for people. I talked to Steve Groschel today. Shout out to Steve, Beat LA, stock analyst. He said, hey, man, people need this pod. We've put equity into this pod. This is what he said to me. We've ride or died with this podcast every week since fucking end of October. And we need you to bring something because we want to hear what you guys have to say to make it fun and bring levity to people. So that's what we're doing today, Paul.
Gallows humor, Matt. They call it gallows humor. Yes, we're going to do our best. But look, we can't say that it didn't hurt. I think, what did you say to me? Your movie analogy was talking about sequels. Is Indiana Jones, which was the one where they ripped the guy's heart out of his chest?
Oh, my God. No, it felt like a Temple of Doom. Kalima, Kalima. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, okay, let's just go to self-help corner first before we dive into the game a little bit. Yeah. For me, after the game, what was funny was all week I was saying it's going to come down to Mahomes driving for the game-winning score. So I had already projected that and subconsciously got in that view. But as soon as the game was over, by the way, I was praying to my dead father, Michael Ferrucci, during that fourth quarter into overtime. I was actually saying, Mike Ferrucci, please help us. But when it ended, I felt like it was January 1st for me, Paul. I felt like my life can begin now. Because when you root for a sports team, it overtakes your life almost subconsciously. And as soon as it ended, all I started thinking about what I have to do with my life, what's in front of me work-wise, personal-wise, health-wise. I felt like my year has begun now on February 12th. What was your feeling? Obviously, you were there different, but I feel like my life can begin now.
I feel like I could stop going all over the western part of the United States, overpaying for football tickets and drinking too much and not sleeping and having my body finally break down at the end of it. I know your point, but you still, if you're gonna go all the way, man, you want to win, right? You want to finish it off right. But I hear you. I'm hopeful for the future. We all have much to be thankful for. Again, for me, I've got baseball around the corner, Matt. I'm going to try to get you psyched up on that in the weeks to come. Look, people after the game, everybody was asking me questions. People were texting me. And I said, at the end of the day, yes, there are a lot of conspiracy theories going on. We're going to get into those a little bit. But if you have the better quarterback and the better coach in a tight game, you're going to win. And I think that Andy Reid and Mahomes are just a notch above, maybe multiple notches above Brock, although he did not. He could have won that game, but, and they were playing, as I said, going in, they were playing with house money. By the way, talk about the neg. This shows how powerful those guys are and how powerful the NFL is in their ability to create the ending they want. They not only basically counteracted the neg, my neg was almost exactly right. I said it was 24-20 Chiefs. It was 25-22 Chiefs. That's the best pick of the year for me. That's fucked up. It shouldn't be the case unless there's some crazy shit happening in the NFL offices.
I wrote down we should apologize to our listeners because we negged this team all year. You negged this team in a way that should be in the Hall of Fame. It's a Hall of Fame run. It's a mini 30 for 30 on your negdom this year. But Mahomes was able to thwart your powers.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Matt, by the way, the guy sitting next to me. So you think, I know you know this, that I'm not the only one who does this. This is it's a sports fan move. The guy next to me at the game, Niners fan, nice fellow. I can't quite remember his name because my mind went blank at the end. He put $500 on the Lions to win the NFC Championship because that's how he felt the only way the Niners would win if he did that.
Well, he's part of the church of Neg. I mean, was
serious fucking dedication. He called it double reverse psychology. I'm like, dude, it's just called a neg, man. I can do it much more quickly than that.
It's almost like that scene in the sequel to Revenge of the Nerds when they go to Florida for spring break and Booger meets Snotty, his nemesis, and there's a mutual respect.
My name's Dudley Dawson. They call me Booger.
Edgar Poe Wong. They call me Snotty.
Wow,
Paul,
all nerds as good as you. Yeah, baby.
Paul. Well, yeah, no. I mean, you bet on the Chiefs.
I did $10. I bet $10 on the Chiefs, Matt, just to try to lock in the neg.
If you want to see Paul place that bet, go to our reels. You can see Paul placing that bet at the sportsbook at Planet Hollywood. Did you collect on that bet, Paul?
I did, Matt. I felt I needed to. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. Maybe we'll do a reel where I light that $20 on fire. I don't know, but I do have the 20. I'm going to do something with it.
Go buy a latte in LA and you'll spend that $20. Okay. Listen, let's quickly get to your trip, Paul.
Okay.
Our listeners have questions because during the game, I was IG storying everything Paul was texting me. And I kept hashtagging it and saying, everyone text Paul. Blow up Paul. First off, the question everyone wants to know, how the hell did you guys get a PJ? We don't have to go into great detail about this, but this is a question the mailbag. How do we get the PJ to get you out there?
My jacket's coming off, Matt. It's a little hot in here under these lights. So how did I get the PJ? We put it out there. We said to our listeners and our supporters that we wanted a private jet to Vegas. And it happened. What specifically our good friend Diego Torres Palma made it happen. His good friend Anita Batia, a new friend who was flying out there, and they offered up a flight, and it was absolutely glorious. I figured there was no way we were going to be able to lose. I will say, Matt, the one way I haven't lost is I have about 15 airplane bottles of booze that I brought back with me because they're just sitting there, and they were like, just take as many as you want. And I'm like, we lost. I'm just going to fucking take everything that's not locked down. So at least I have airplane bottles to get me through spring training.
That's great, Paul. I mean, always take the free shit. You know, it's funny. People were texting me, why aren't you there? And I was texting you, this is a trip I will regret for the rest of my life. But after we lost and I didn't spend $12,000, I'm okay with not jumping on the PJ.
Yeah, we have to divide and conquer, Matt. We have to be able to financially survive.
This podcast. I know. You saw U2 at the Sphere. Just amazing. Fucking amazing.
It was incredible. I recommend it highly. And it was great that it was the night before the Super Bowl because weirdly, there was so much competition Saturday night for people's entertainment dollar that ticket went down significantly over the last 24 hours. And I actually timed that purchase okay. But it's great. It's going to change concert going forever. I mean, maybe people aren't the one complaint I got was like, oh, I don't need to hear every song on Octung Baby, but it's unreal, man. And I'm not saying it did this, but it's probably a pretty good show with a little bit of hallucinogenics.
Perfect. Little psilocybin.
I'm not saying I did that. I'm kind of old, but I'm just telling you, it is a 3-dimensional VR wonder, and it's the music's, the audio is amazing. Anyway, everyone should check out the Sphere. I think the next band is Fish. Somebody told me. So if you want some hallucinogens, that's a good one, although I'm not the biggest Fish fan.
Listen, I mean, maybe, I don't know, the kids today, they're calling it Molly. It used to be called ecstasy. And we're not condoning any of this. What Paul's saying is it's pretty incredible in there. That's all you're saying. Paul, this is another question. We're getting to the game questions now.
Yeah.
I got this text from Tate. She's the head of our Beat LA astrology department.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
She wanted to know how the hell did Paul get on the field? We need to debunk this myth that I caused. I posted a video of someone on the field pregame. Great, just right on the field. And I said, Paul's on the field. Do you want to just debunk that quickly, Paul?
Am I allowed to tell the truth? You posted that I was on the field.
No, let's be full disclosure with our fans.
Okay, I want them to trust us. What you should have said is Beat LA is on the field because Nick Conrad, our editor and correspondent, was on the field as Usher's handler. I think, if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure he was in charge of the roller skates and making sure that Usher had enough shirts in rehearsal to rip them off and show us his bare torso. Even though Janet Jackson got in trouble for something very similar.
Paul was not on the field, but part of the Beat LA team was on the field.
We were everywhere, man. We were everywhere. I also, by the way, had a very nice time. I went to the NFL tailgate beforehand, which was a very fantastic event with great free food and cocktails, and Gwen Stefani played. And I will say that she actually could warrant her own halftime show. She's got a lot of hits. Blake Shelton showed up. When I went in there, and then the Jennings McCaffrey flea flicker thingy, they scored them their first touchdown. I'm like, this is it, man. Between that, the Ladybug, and everything else, I thought it was our day.
I thought didn't No Doubt play the Super Bowl once? I feel like they might have. Let's put that on the poll here. Okay, next question: seat location, and did the guy next to you ever wake up? And if he did, when? Paul, let's cue the video. Cue the video. This is who Paul was sitting next to.
We're feeling pretty good. This guy next to me, he's resting up for the second half.
Paul, did that guy ever wake up?
He did. he woke up refreshed. So that gentleman had had a few cocktails, as you could imagine, and decided to take a nap during the very long halftime show, which apparently was longer than most halftime shows I read. And he woke up the second it was over to a friend of his who I don't know where this guy even came from, holding a giant 24-ounce Michelob Ultra. And my seatmate perked right up and he was good to go.
Wow. So he did wake up, folks. Here's the next question I got. Where was Paul when we lost? And what movie scene did it remind him of when the loss occurred? So where were you watching it when it happened? Were you back in your seat?
I was back in my seat. Matt, as you know, I think you may have posted this too. I'm a superstitious fella. Things were not going in the right direction. Also, it was the end of the third quarter, and I learned from the last game, you got to get out there and get a beer before the third quarter's over. So I went out there, and then the next thing I know, I see a guy with a ladybug on his hat, and Ayuk makes the first catch of the fourth quarter. I'm like, okay, maybe there's some good karma out here in the concourse. By the way, Allegiant Stadium, I don't like that much. Concourse is very crowded. It's very cramped. I think they saved money building that stadium. Not enough toilets. Apparently, you can't see the football against the ceiling, which is why it happened twice. Luter off his fucking foot, and then all that long pass for Gibson. Anyway, I got a lot of pet peeves, like I said. But I was out there, and I ended up watching that that touchdown in the concourse. But I'm like, I got to go back in. I can't be this much of a weirdo that I'm going to spend all that money on a Super Bowl ticket and not watch the game in the stadium. And by the way, I was in a total 49er section. It was like 80% 49er fans, which was, again, misery loves company, but it made for a fun run. But I was just sitting right there in my seat, man, and we all knew it was coming. We saw the whole fucking thing. Like, we knew it from plays, the minute that Chris Jones broke through untouched and almost sent Purdy into the offseason and the hot tub factory, we all knew it was over.
Yeah, that final drive of Mahomes in overtime, it really did feel inevitable. I was telling you, it felt like that scene in The Sopranos when Adriana is being driven to her death by Silvio, and she knows she's going to get whacked.
He's a strong kid, Chrissy. He's tough, very resilient.
We were all Adriana in that scene.
I was trying to think. You said what movie? I know I had a prep on this question. What movie did it remind me of? I don't know why I went there, but Glory. The end of the movie Glory, which is a spectacular movie.
Ed Zwick. But tell me, what
Denzel Washington won the Best Supporting Actor. It's a great Civil War movie. I'm a big Civil War guy, history buff. But at the end of that movie, spoiler alert, everybody dies, man. Everybody.
Final question before we get into the game itself a little bit and looking forward. What did you think of Usher's performance?
So I like to talk about my past, Matt. So I'll tell you a couple things about being at the game. One, the break between commercials is so long. No wonder it was a sloppy game. Like, it's crazy how long the commercials are when you're there in person. Second of all I could think about was the roller skate stuff, because it reminded me, I was in London with my father and family. We saw Andrew Lloyd Webber's Starlight Express.
Hold on, wait for it. Wait for the song cue.
And it's a bunch of guys. It's like Tron with roller skates, right? That's basically what Starlight Express was. We got through half of it, got to intermission, and my father stood up and said, "This is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen." And we walked out. So that's what it reminded me of. Anyway, I thought it was fine. It kind of Pump Up the What or whatever that song is. Like, that song, like, things started going, but halfway through, most people didn't even know. They were like, why is he still relevant? Anyway, I would say that it didn't go over that great in the stadium. The truth is, that show is not for the people in the stands. That is for the people at home. People in the stands they want to watch the game, or they want to take a leak and not spend 15 minutes in the bathroom. Yeah.
And I mean, nothing's ever going to compare to the bar set of Prince performing in Miami, Purple Rain in the rain. That's going to be the one of all time. I'll say this, Paul, I'll just say when Usher ripped off his shirt and his pecs were just, you know what I mean? I said, why stop there? I hope he has breakaway pants. Let's just go full banana boat G-string. Like, why didn't he just go Magic Mike? That's where I thought he was going.
He was in Vegas, man. There's nothing but Magic Mike, Chippendales, and Thunder Down Under shit all over that place. He absolutely should have done that.
Let's get to the game a little bit before we get to the other stuff, the Giants and the Warriors. Quickly, the game. Yeah. I saw something really interesting today. Kyle said he wanted the ball first so they could get the ball third.
In overtime.
In overtime, right. It's interesting. Mahomes said if the 49ers scored a touchdown there wouldn't have been a third possession because if we got a touchdown, we were going to go for two.
Right.
I just thought that was a really interesting tidbit. Ayuk was wide open in the end zone on that 3rd and 4 play, the blown protection. Why not go for it on the 4th down? That's what I was saying. Let's just touch on that really quickly. I know it's all been rehashed, but me and you just talking, I thought Kyle should have gone for it, gone full Dan Campbell there. It's 4th and 4. You got to trust your talent that you got another play in the bag. If you saw Ayuk was wide open on that 3rd down play, why not go for it on 4th and 4? What were you thinking, Paul, in the moment?
That's a great question. Spent a lot of time last week, ripping on Dan Campbell for some of his decisions. I don't know. In the moment, my take was that the 49ers had given up one touchdown all game, and it was on after the muff punt. And it was at a tired defense that had just held them on the previous drive. And he trusted his team. That's what these guys are supposed to do. I know the game changed when Greenlaw got hurt. And it was a total war of attrition. I mean, they lost a bunch of guys. I mean, Debo couldn't get separation because he had a hamstring problem. Kittle wasn't in for the first 8 plays of that drive in overtime because of his shoulder.
Hurt. Yeah.
It's just, they just had this crap beat out of him. I'm going to say this one thing here, and I know the conspiracy thing or whatever, you can get into if you want. I think that the fact that this playing field thing, I think it was very real. Not only the Chiefs play in that stadium every year because they're an AFC West team, I think Debo's injury was because of that playing field. He had a hamstring problem. You saw what happened when they played in New York a couple of years ago and Bosa got hurt. That field thing was, and what happened to Greenlaw. Greenlaw had been dealing with an Achilles problem for a couple of weeks, and he had that shitty, soft practice field. It was not like the Allegiant practice field. I think it was a massive fucking bullshitty thing that happened to the Niners that really caused a major ripple effect. I know you can't have excuses for this stuff, but I think it's real.
I respect the take, Paul. I respect the take. The Dre Greenlaw thing was just a fluke accident. Like he was just trying to run on the field.
Really sad. I mean, the guy is the heart and soul of that defense,
oh my God. And then the Debo thing.
He may never be the same. Remember
Navarro Bowman.
Yeah. Totally reminded me of that.
I mean, we were really beat up. Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle only combined for 11 touches in the game total, which was tough. The thing that hurts so much is it was there for the taking. And I think this game would have hurt less if we got blown out or we didn't beat ourselves. But we beat ourselves. We let them hang around. I thought the defense did enough to win. Obviously, we didn't capitalize on the momentum after the start of the third. We intercepted them and could have gone up 14.
Yeah,
and we just didn't capitalize on it. And
that's when Kyle stopped running the ball. That's actually my biggest complaint with those 3 series at the start of the third quarter.
Well, I mean, the penalties kind of got in the way, but I completely agree. We were all saying run the ball, run the ball. I just think Purdy said it. You can't score. We kicked 3 field goals in the red zone and we didn't score touchdowns. And I think the offense let us down. I think the defense did enough to win. And it really sucks.
There's a mixed extra point in there, but Moody stepped up, hit 2 50-plus yard field goals. I think you texted me that Robbie Gould probably wouldn't hit either of those because he didn't have a leg for it.
For sure.
And it was just that kind of game. Like to me, like trying to find blame on anyone in the Niners. Like Mahomes is better. They had a few things go against them. The real play that ruined the whole thing was that muff punt. That cannot happen in a big game, right? It's just like, if that doesn't happen, they win by a touchdown. So,
yeah, us Bay Area fans, like we said, Paul and I said, don't watch Sports Center, don't listen to sports radio, just listen to our podcast. Come back in a couple of weeks, and baseball season, spring training is going to start. Let's move on with other things in our lives. It's going to be okay. The pod's going to be okay. And listen, we have won. We've been, as Bay Area sports fans, in the last 13 years, we've been to 12 world championships. The Giants went for 3 for 3. The Warriors went 4 for 6, and the Niners went 0 for 3. We could be from Cleveland, okay? We could be from Minnesota.
That's great, Matt.
We're 7 for 12. We're 7 for 12 in world titles. So, folks, it's gonna be okay. Okay? That's all I got to say. Do you want to? Hey, by the way, I just want to thank our fans here. okay? Because the Niners have provided great content for us. So it was an amazing run for the pod.
They got me on a PJ, the Niners and our fans. So, no, look, it was an incredible run. I mean, and to experience it kind of from this side, starting this podcast, like we feel very fortunate that we got to go along for it, and it helped us build our audience. But it made you kind of feel it a little more too, because quite frankly, like we almost felt like we were part of the team this time around. Anyway, but
awesome.
What you said, Matt, is totally right. Perspective is important, and it hasn't been a bad time to be a Bay Area sports fan these last, 15 or so years. So let's enjoy it.
And on that note, we have one more fun thing that you can take into the off season. Paul and I are going to be talking with Khalil Tams. He is the head of 49Talks on Instagram. It's a great site, all things 49ers. So that's going to be our little stocking stuffer to you guys. We'll be right back. All right, folks, we're back, and we are here with the creator, owner, and general manager. He does both. Of the 49er fanatic page, 49Talks. He's got about 70,000 followers. It's a great page for 49er news, really dynamic reels, highlight mashups that get your blood pumping below the belt as well as above the belt. He also hosts a 49ers Discord and frequent live chats on their IG. Ladies and gentlemen, the man behind the curtain, Khalil Tams. Khalil, welcome to the Beat LA podcast.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me, man. This is awesome.
Paul, you know this gentleman right here.
I do,
right?
Matt. You sound so much more excited introducing somebody other than me. I know.
I can't believe you picked up on that. It was subtle, but you did pick up on that.
That was a great intro right there. Great intro.
You can keep that. Take that around with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that for sure.
Have it be your ringtone on your phone, maybe.
Hey, you know what, Khalil? Just clip that 20-second NBA intro and just put it on IG, and we'll be all good. Yeah,
exactly. 100%.
So before we get into your channel and how it started, let's just lean into this. How you feeling? 48 hours removed.
Yeah, it's tough. Obviously I've been mourning, so to say, these past 2 days. It's not helping right now with, Brandon Ayuk saying all these stuff that he's saying about not being so good with the Niners right now. And so it's tough, but, you got to have optimism. You got to have hope. It was a tough game, man. We fought to the very end, almost a 5-quarter game. Basically, it was a 5-quarter game. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it sucks, but hopefully we bounce back. I don't know.
Paul, how are you feeling 48 hours? I mean, we talked about this a little bit, but you want to tell Khalil?
Misery loves company. We even talked, we were like, maybe we don't even do this today. We were, planning this last week when it's supposed to be a victory lap, but I think the more Niner fans that can get together right now and kind of kumbaya our way through the pain, it would be good. It's a good thing.
Paul, I'll tell you this. I'll be honest. In preparing for the pod today, I watched some of the 49Talks reels on our Instagram, some of the stuff you posted to Khalil. And it was a nice soft landing.
Yeah, I did the same. Yep.
Back into what's happening, and kind of made me accept all of it. Let's just do the positives. First off, just the good stuff. When Juwan Jennings threw the touchdown pass to CMC, what was the reaction? How did you feel about this?
Man, I was so excited. Man. I was jumping in the air. I almost cried, honestly. So that was good to see. I mean, it was tough to score in that game in overall. So just seeing a touchdown right there from Juwan throwing to CMC was amazing.
Juwan Jennings, great play. Oh, this ball's in the air for a long time. McCaffrey's able to pull it down, and he's going in for the touchdown.
I know when he threw that pass, I didn't cry. And by the way, I'm jealous of your passion, but Paul and I are so jaded now. It just sucks when you get old. But when that happened, I couldn't believe what I saw. I didn't know what way my head was spinning. Paul, you were there. When that happened, what was the reaction around you?
I mean, people went crazy, and everyone around me was like, Kyle's a genius. This is going to be Kyle's game, right? Like, people were so psyched, not only because they scored, but because it looked like maybe we were outwitting these guys, right? You were talking a little earlier. I was in a full 49er section at the game, which was a relief, both in good times and bad. But no, I think we were feeling good, man. Everyone was high-fiving. You're hugging the strangers you never met before. You forgot there once was a pandemic. Everyone's just, all up in their shit, right? That's what was happening.
Khalil, I want to get into a little bit of what you do and tie it into this game a little bit. This stuff's a little bit breaking. This stuff's been kind of popping on the Twitter and the TikToks today, and it's getting steam because I'm getting texts. listen, we lost, we accept it. But the Chiefs getting calls conspiracy, this engine is rolling down the hill. There was that second down that was changed to a first down. Then I don't know if you guys saw this, on that final play that Mahomes threw the touchdown pass, there was an illegal man downfield, 4 yards. Have you been in this conspiracy ether doing what you do with the site?
I've seen a lot of clips around the first down one for sure. I don't want to think too much into it. Obviously, I really do not think it's a business like that. I think that the refs are being, fair and all that, and the NFL isn't rigging the Chiefs to win. But, you can't help but ponder on it when you see all these clips on the internet. But, I wouldn't say it's rigged. Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Are you not going to post some stuff on 49er Talk? Your audience wants to believe it's rigged. So you use a little movie magic.
I might have to. Yeah, I saw a clip today about the first down one, like I said, and I almost posted it, but I was like, I don't know. But I saw it during the game too. I was like, what is going on? It was just second down. Like, why is it saying 1st and 10?
This fake news thing didn't stop me from posting from the game that Patrick Mahomes had been arrested because some dude in a Patrick Mahomes jersey was arrested. So we might have started a little rumor.
Khalil, that was our most watched clip on Sunday, was the fake news. So you got to do what you got to do. Yeah.
My wife actually looked it up. She knows so little about sports. She actually thought it was real and Googled it.
My sister too thought, she said, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Anyway, I don't want to recap the debacle on Sunday. Me and Paul have already kind of gotten into that. It sucked. I don't know if you've seen this film in one of your film classes there, but it was like the scene in Reservoir Dogs when the cop cuts the ear off of the policeman. That's what it felt like. What I want to get in with you is future Niners with you and how you started this wildly popular channel. How did this all start?
I'm a lifelong 49ers fan, so I just made an Instagram page, I believe 3 years ago now. And it started off really slow, like under 1,000 followers, under like 900 probably. And, it was just me posting, interacting with fans, just talking about the Niners, like things that I see going on, what do they think, But then this past year, I started posting more videos, more reels. And that really got my page exploding. And I just kept doing that. And obviously, I always went live. I go live, interact with them, and just really popped off. And it's a blessing. So that's how I kind of got to where I'm at now.
Do you edit yourself?
So I'm not editing them. I'm just collecting them. And then I give credit to every single person that makes a video. And I just keep posting them. And basically, my account became like an account where people go to my videos to just see other edits, whether that's highlights or that's like interviews, podcast talks, everything. So like, my account just came like a big collection of different videos for Niners fans to just, dive into.
Well, Paul and I were talking about this. Like, obviously, you have to curate what you decide to post and what's newsworthy. So do you sometimes feel like a digital Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport? Do you feel like sometimes I'm kind of breaking some stuff to some people? Do you feel this way?
Yeah, 100%. And there's times also where I've made some mistakes. Like one time I posted, I think it was a video or just a regular post. I forgot what it was about. And people in the comments were just going crazy on me saying it's false and it's incorrect what I'm saying. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to delete this. So yeah, now every single post I have to make sure I review it, make sure it's correct, because I have too many followers now to where they'll catch on to it if it's incorrect. So that's
We're
like
getting
a big
there.
issue now.
We're getting there. Paul went to the Detroit Lions game and basically we had this journey conspiracy about what they sang at halftime and we caught some smoke for it, but it worked. It worked for us. So
yeah, it worked.
That's how you know you made it, man. If you're pissing people off.
I love what your site does, man, and I love what you do. Your site, what's great about a site like yours is you give us the smoke that the national news outlets won't touch. Yeah. So, for instance, let's get into this today. You broke to me. I saw you reposted the Ayuk post, which said, don't forget what got you there, with just a black screen, which could be implied he's telling the Niners brass, hey, I should have got the ball more. And then you posted Ayuk's girlfriend, because he's on the last year of his deal. She went IG live talking about, like, I don't know, maybe we spent the last day at Levi's.
This might have been the last day we touched foot on Levi Stadium, me and Braylon, because we might not be out here next season.
What's your take on this Ayuk thing? Is just the raw emotion of the game, or are you worried?
I think part of it is the raw emotion, but I think he's taking a page out of Debo's book, because you remember, I believe 2 years, I believe 2 years ago, Debo was doing kind of the same thing, trade talk, and then he got his bag, got his big contract. So I think that's what's going on right now.
On his Instagram, he took everything Niner related off of his social media.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
exactly. So I think he's doing that same thing. I'm sure part of it is the raw emotion of losing the Super Bowl and having only 3 catches. That's kind of a big deal as well. But he knows it's his last year on his contract.
Yeah, I think it's the raw emotion. I mean, what I found out is he kind of grew up a Niner fan. His mom used to dress him up in Niner baby outfits. So I think that makes sense. It's the raw emotion of it, and he's trying to angle for the deal. I don't know if they have the same agent. That would be interesting if they did. So Ayuk's he's not a free agent, but he's the most important kind of re-sign. Outside of Ayuk, what do you see like as the most important guy we got to bring back next year? Chase, Kinlaw, Gregory, Feliciano. I mean, do you have an idea there?
I think Chase is a big one. He's gotten a lot of hate lately because of like that one play that went off on the internet. But honestly, like you saw in the Super Bowl, he went off. Like he really helped us. The whole D-line really went off too. So I'd say Chase is a big one. Kinlaw, he's too injury prone for me, to be honest. I mean, he had a good year this year, but he's always injury prone. I don't know. One thing I'm kind of concerned about, not really answering your question, but I'm really concerned about Dre Greenlaw as well. He's out for a whole year, it seems like now. Yeah, I would say Chase Young, probably.
I mean, Chase, the effort thing has been always a question. We might be able to get a discount there. I thought I would say Dick Gregory, but Randy Gregory. But Randy Gregory, I think we could get cheaper and played well.
He'll be cheaper, yeah.
Paul and I will say Kinlaw should just go into professional wrestling because he's just so big.
He's always hurt too. He's always hurt.
Gregory's now allowed. He's now allowed to smoke weed, so that keeps him from getting too stressed out. Right? That he can't get in trouble. The NFL changed their weed policy. Right? He took the loss better than anybody, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, usually I'm the one that brings the drug angle to this.
We've been working together for a while, Matt. I've channeled you.
Paul and I could get a whole side discussion with you about drugs during our day and your day in college.
I'm sure.
And get super jealous. So I think Darnold, by the way, we need to re-sign him. So take away from this season, how do you feel moving forward? It's pretty much the same team running back. You feeling positive? I mean, what's the light at the end of the tunnel here?
I really am, because the NFC, I don't see any really big competitors, you know what I'm saying? There's the Lions, the Rams are good. I mean, Cowboys, Eagles. Like, I'm not really threatened by the NFC, to be honest. And it's like you said, it's like the same team as last year. And Purdy played great in the Super Bowl, to be honest, in my opinion. Not great, but well enough to win. So I think all those factors, same team, not a strong NFC conference right now. I have hope. I'm very optimistic, to be honest.
Khalil, what happens during the offseason? Like, how active are you? Do you feel like people, are going to be hungry for the glory days of videos who made us think we won? Like, what's going to happen between now and July?
Yeah, I actually have a plan for that, to be honest. That's a good question. So basically, right now, it's mostly content about the Super Bowl. We just lost, so fans are still mourning. And then once like March and April come around, it's like the scouting combine, the draft, and that starts getting more edits about the draft. Talk about like who we're gonna get, who should we get, or how do you feel about our picks. And then it's like June, July, we have OTAs, stuff like that. So there's always action, even though we're not playing. There's always action. There's free agents we get. There's people we trade. So throughout the whole year, there's always something to do, something to talk about, and then August comes around, it's preseason, and then next thing you know, here we are, new season.
NFL is good that way. It's a 24-hour news cycle in the NFL, and we actually have a first-round draft pick this year for the first time in a couple of years.
I know. I'm so excited for that, yeah.
Paul, were you taking notes there? I mean, I know we're recording this so we can play it back, but me and you were just like, wait, what do we do now? Can we write this down? Okay.
No,
okay.
Why do you think I asked him? I asked him because we need to know what we're going to talk about.
I was like, that's the best question that we've been throwing at him.
Hey, look, he was in college. I was thinking about how I studied in college. I looked over the guy's shoulder in front of me, right?
That's funny. So
classic, Paul. We're going to get you out of here. But before we do that, obviously we got some listeners and we see a lot of these sort of fan sites that have popped off. Any advice to someone who has a deep, unhealthy interest in a team like us and wants to start a social media channel like yours? I mean, what would you say to, a kid who wants to do what you're doing?
Yeah, well, you have to have the passion first. If you don't have that passion, there's no point. Other than that, got to be consistent, man. I'm posting every day, like at least 5 times a day now. So you have to be very consistent, love what you do, interact with the fans, and just keep sharing your content. And honestly, a little secret of mine is the videos. The videos really pop off because I started off just doing, regular posts, asking questions. But when you start posting videos, it goes on people's For You pages. Yeah, more videos mixed in with regular posts to really get people engaged and really spreads your content.
It's good advice. Yeah, the passion comes through. And Matt and I talk about it. We've been working on Hollywood a long time. That stuff matters, that your audience knows it. And I think that's why you're doing so great. People respond to you because I think they feel it.
I feel like I just took a 402 symposium course on digital social or something, Paul. Can I cheat off your paper, by the way?
Go ahead.
Folks, the site is 49Talks. Follow him on Instagram right now. Like I said, this is where I go. Like, we all get the same news, but if you want to get that different news, like the Ayuk breaking news like that, definitely hit him up. Follow his channel. It's really good stuff. Khalil, you have anything else you want to plug before we get you out of here?
Follow you guys, man. BLA podcast, the best podcast in the world. So
you heard it
there
here.
There you go.
Man, that's now my ringtone. That's my ringtone. Yeah, so.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have you back on again, hopefully, with closer to the season, man. If you're free.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back, man. Yeah,
I'm down, and the draft too. The draft, whenever you guys want. Honestly, I'm down with it.
Great.
Awesome. Thanks, Khalil.
Yeah, have a good one. Thank you guys.
All right, buddy. Okay. Talk to you soon.
Right.
Thanks again.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit of San Francisco Giants because all you can do as a 49er fan is look forward and look ahead to the next heartbreak and bring it on to the San Francisco Giants. Overnight, I almost texted you, Paul, because I was up at 11:15. Who goes to sleep that early? But I was up at 11:15, and Suzanne Slusser tweeted, she was the one who broke it, that the George Soler signing happened. I almost texted you, but I realized you were getting off the PJ and your head hurt. So I didn't. Paul, Soler, 3 years, $42 million. I love it. It makes me greedy for one more bat and one more arm. We got a right-handed hitter. He'll probably have 200 strikeouts, hit 211, 21 home runs, and only like 50 RBIs, but we got somebody.
I mostly agree with you. I got to do counterpoint in this a little bit. Soler is always hurt. He's been in the league for 10 years. He's got a 5.9 WAR. That's not very good for 10 years.
No.
He is hurt a lot. He's had 2 really good years. They're both contract years. This will not be a contract year because he just signed his first 3-year deal with the team. That being said, they had to sign him. I do think he'll be more exciting. He's actually bat to ball stuff's pretty good for a guy who hits a lot of home runs. He's not going to have 200 strikeouts. He is kind of a Farhan signing though, because he can't run at all. He's really fucking slow and he can't play defense. But I think another trade's coming. I think JD Davis is gone. They just did this weird thing where they went to arbitration over like $300,000 because I think they wanted to try to keep his contract as low as possible so they could get rid of it. And they're going to sign Mark Chapman. I know I've been saying that, but that's the next shoe to drop because they need his defense. Their defense is pretty fucking bad right now.
No, but I make a face there because why are we haggling over 300,000? Like, we need JD, we need Chapman and JD and Soler.
There are not enough bats for him. You now just brought in your right-handed DH, and you got Wilmer, who's also a right-handed DH. So I think Wade and Wilmer are gonna platoon it first. Chapman's gonna come in to basically play short third because he's gonna create the range that Luciano doesn't have. I mean, I hear you. Look, you know, Soler probably get hurt, and then you wish you had JD Davis. So maybe they will keep him. But
that's a great point. One of these guys is going to get hurt, so you might as well have as many right-handed arms, bats as we can get.
If only Farhan would go on the IL for a little while.
Listen, let's get Chapman and let's get one more guy.
I'm sad about the Niners, but man, hope springs eternal. Spring training is coming. Pitchers and catchers report this week. So let's have some fun with it. Sun's coming out. It's been raining. It's been a rainy winter in LA and California. So I'm ready, man. I'm ready. And Soler made me happy. The fact that happened on the tail of what happened to the Niners, that was good. That was something to wake up to today. It put me in a better mood.
I'm pumped for the baseball season. I'm still running that fantasy baseball league that's been going on for 20 years. Do you want to get back in or no?
Oh my God. It almost ruined baseball for me. Fantasy football, which I also don't play, I could see that's like once a week. Fucking baseball's every day. You got to do like a new lineup all the time.
You're the literal wonk. I am a quant too because of fantasy baseball. I'm a nerd. I'm a dork. It's Dungeons and Dragons. What's great about fantasy baseball is you don't have to actually know what's going on. You just have to look at the stats. So it's very Moneyball. Obviously, what you're saying is you're not going to join the league this year.
I'm not going to join the league this year. We should probably mention one other baseball thing, and I'm trying to look up.
Wait, hold on. Otto Lopez? What?
Did
you see that?
No, who's Otto Lopez?
Oh, I'm breaking this for you. The Giants made a little trade last night or early today. They traded for Blue Jays minor league shortstop Otto Lopez for cash considerations.
Interesting. Did you see they also signed, and I'm not blanking on his name because we're mostly talking about football. He's a reliever. He was a reliever with the Reds who apparently there's a great thing on Instagram going around. We'll find it and put it up for you guys in the middle of our pod here when you're watching it. He took on the entire Dodgers team in a brawl.
Oh, no. Are you telling we Amir Garrett?
Yeah, we signed Amir Garrett. We signed Amir Garrett. Thank you.
I love Amir Garrett. This guy is the Hulk Hogan of left-handed relief pitchers. He's the Incredible Hulk. Basically, he's the Dominican David Banner, okay? He loses his shit, but he's got a fucking arm. I can't believe we signed Amir Garrett. That's crazy.
He took on the whole Dodger team. If we can't get him
Pittsburgh.
on the Beat LA pod. Oh, he took on Pittsburgh? I thought it was the Dodgers. All right, that's wishful
No, he
thinking.
took.
I think I was hallucinating after the weekend and dreaming of people beating up the Dodgers. Maybe that's
we could, Nick. We could be completely wrong, but just show Amir Garrett right now taking on some team.
And now Garrett's on his way to the dugout, and here we go. Oh, Garrett goes in there punching. This is not a good scene at all.
That's our Giants talk for now. But hey, listen, folks, you're going to get a whole bunch of Giants in baseball coming up over the next month and a half. So get ready for that. Let's quickly just jump into the Warriors. Warriors are playing great. We've won 7 of our last 8. It's so much so that on the Bill Simmons pod that dropped today, the Warriors were the lead story on the pod with Logan Murdoch. They were talking about how the Warriors are the most interesting and fascinating team in the NBA right now because they're going through this metamorphosis in real time. And I think we might have come out on the other side where the futures met the past. We're playing great, and it's all because Draymond Green is taking his meds.
He almost got into it the other night with Phoenix. He looked like old Draymond. And he takes credit's the wrong word, but he says this wouldn't have happened if he hadn't gotten suspended. So there you go. And he's probably right because Kuminga wouldn't have blossomed and gotten the playing time because Kerr doesn't like to play the rooks. Or he's not really a rook, but he doesn't like to play the young guys. No, they're fun right now, man. I mean, they got a long way to go. They're still 4 games out of the 6th seed, and the West is pretty stacked. But they're fun again, and it's great. We need it again. We need all this stuff, Matt, because our Niners they're taking a dirt nap till July. So
no, I mean we were the 12-13 seed. Now we're a game over 500. Our team is deeper. The reason we're winning these games too is we're playing defense. And I've always said this to you, Paul. Defense isn't about scheme. It's just about effort. And they're playing great defense. The team is so deep. Gary Payton's back. This kid, Guy Santos, we drafted him 3 years ago from Brazil. The guy's great size and he can shoot.
Lester Quinones. I like all guys named Lester.
Lester's great. Chris and Merrill, BLA Legal Analyst, we were talking about like a way to soothe the pain is maybe we should get to go to some Warrior games. So, Paul, would you like to go to a Warrior game with your podcast partner?
Man, I'd love that. That's amazing.
Let's go to the playoffs. Can we go to the NBA playoffs together?
Somehow we managed not to go to a Niner. We went to every Niner playoff game. We just didn't go together. So I would love that.
That was the juju talking. That was the juju dictating. I don't think basketball is still free reign for the both of us to come together.
I agree. Plus, you got some ins with the Warriors, which I like. So,
hey, baby. All right. That is our Giants and Warriors talk. We're going to be right back right after this. All right, we're back. This segment is brought to you by Pet Pro. I know our fans have caviar tastes and caviar dreams. If you were looking for that perfect piece of pet furniture, Pet Pro's got it all. Paul and I the other day were going through the catalog online and we're like, shit, this Pet Pro stuff looks great. I might buy this stuff from my place and we don't even have pets, okay? We're talking about toys, scratchless furniture, cages, bathtubs for dogs. Pet Pro has it all, and here's the best part, folks. I'm getting so animated like right now. You can get 10% off if you use code BEATLA. Paul, I got it out. Code BEATLA for 10% off Pet Pro, supplyco.com, which brings us to the Tony Campaglia pet peeve of the week. I'm pretty, I don't got anything this week, Paul, so I'm going to kick it to you. You got any pet peeves for us?
I mean, the whole podcast of pet peeve. I already had a few. So this is my pet peeve. And then I'm going to do a non-pet peeve. I'll do one. They'll be quick. So the pet peeve, I just came back from 3 days in Vegas. And I use a lot of public urinals. My pet peeve, people spitting out their gum in urinals. Why do so many people spit out their gum in urinals? Spit it out in the garbage can, man. like, I know it's probably not getting anything from this guy's gum I'm peeing on top of, that I'm pee blasting, as they say, but I don't understand it. Some person's got to go in there and clean that toilet out and get the gum that's like some jerk is spit into the urinal. So that's one.
Can I cut in real quick? Anytime
Yeah.
you say pee urinals, I think of urinal cakes from I Love You Man. Cue the clip.
What do they have in the bathroom? Urinal cakes with my face on it.
I don't see how
I've had people come up to me on the streets and say, I know you from somewhere. Yeah, you do. You pissed on my face, friend.
My non-pet peeve, and I just want to shout out, we're going to shout out in a minute. I was just glad there was a streaker at the Super Bowl, man. I think there were 2 streakers at the Super Bowl. I was there. I saw it. Their timing was terrible. They barely got on the field. It was at a bad time. I think they were on a commercial break, maybe. I was like sitting there going, somebody needs to coach the streakers. But I tell you, man, all streakers are good streakers as far as I'm concerned. So way to stay with it, guys.
We didn't see it. Obviously, they don't show it on TV. Did he go full Monty? Was it full Monty?
By the time I figured out what was going on, they'd been tackled. So they were in the corner, kind of left. They were like in the end zone area, all the way kind of on the other side. I was sitting at about the 25-yard line and the kind of third level up. So I didn't get a good shot at the
get the junk at the goods.
I can't tell. If your question is how were they endowed, I don't have the answer to that.
What wasn't asking that? Just asking if it was full Monty, Paulie.
Okay.
Was he circumcised? On that note, we're going to go to break, and we'll be right back with the best things we saw. All right, folks, we're back with the best things we saw, so we can let everyone else back into the room that didn't give 2 shits about the Super Bowl. Come on in. But maybe you did give a shit because you wanted to see how Paul and I would react to everything. I'll be honest with you, Paul. I didn't watch shit this past week. Everything I was consumed by was the Niners. But I do have a take on a couple of things. Paul, do you want to go first or shall I?
I'm going to let you go. I feel like because I was at the game, I've been doing a lot of talking. So you fire it up.
All right. So, folks, I know you come to us for some recommendations. I know about 32%. That's what the analytics are telling us. Come to this podcast just for the recommendations on what to watch and what to not watch. So that's a little.
That's why I'm on the podcast, Matt. You tell me what to watch.
So I'm going to just quickly touch on 3 things real fast. True Detective. I'm on the fence. It's called True Detective Night Country. I've watched all 5 episodes and I've fallen asleep during all 5 episodes, but I can't get away from it. I think what hurts this project, Paul, is they shouldn't have called it True Detective and put it in the universe. If they just called this Night Country and let it live on its own without the expectations of True Detective, I think it would have worked better. But the expectations are too high. I think Issa Lopez does a great job. Jodie Foster's great. It just meanders. So, folks, if you're into true crime, give it a twirl. Give it a twirl. Give it a dance. Spin it around. I don't know if it's great. The other thing I watched, Paul, I watched the pilot of Expats, this new show on
Nicole
Amazon.
Kidman. Yeah.
Nicole Kidman. After watching the pilot, I said, I can't do it. It's the type of drama I don't want to watch, in the sense that I don't need to look into my own life. It's a little too deep. It's a little too, what's that show? This Is Us, to me, in a very glossy type of way.
Navel gazing, I think they say.
Navel gazing, whatever Paul just said. I'm putting this in my don't watch list. I'm not going to recommend. Just keep going by. That's just the Beat LA stance. Pass on Expats. If you're going to watch something, watch the new season of Tokyo Vice.
I've been wanting to see that. I haven't watched the first season, but it's on my list. This is exciting.
Enjoy. Watch the first season, Paul.
Ken Watanabe. He's a great actor. I like Ken Watanabe.
Yeah, El Gort is in it, but it's a great show. If you love Tokyo, if you love Japan, if you like Black Rain with Michael Douglas, it's produced by Michael Mann. If you're a big fan of Michael Mann, it's about a journalist who's infiltrating the Yakuza, and it's fucking great, man. They shoot it in Tokyo. They shoot it in Japan. It reminds me of something like in the 80s. I love it. If you're looking for something, that's the recommend by Beat LA this week, Tokyo Vice. Paul, what shall you bring to this segment?
I mean, I didn't see, again, I was at the Super Bowl. I was busy watching U2 at the Sphere and Gwen Stefani and the pregame show and the Usher and the Niners lose and all this other stuff. So I'm going to put a pin in it, as they say in the writer's room, when you're pitching ideas and they realize that they're not going to get the idea that's going to solve the story. I'm going to put a pin in it till next week. Matt, you gave us 3, so that's perfect.
All right. Well, let's, shout outs. I just want to shout out the 49ers for bringing the podcast this far on its back. We rode the Niners. Paul and I just wanted to get to the last dance. And then we realized We didn't just want the last dance. We wanted to take the girl home and get lucky. We didn't, but we got to the prom. It was great. It was a great run. Thanks to all the fans that tuned in every week to hear us laugh. We got some Cowboy fans in our bag. They used to listen to us just to giggle. So we thank all of the listeners who enjoyed following us during the 49ers, and I hope you continue to follow us.
I did everything Matt just said. Obviously, I've had a couple of shout outs to our friend DTP and Anita, who got me on the private jet, the PJ. That was amazing. My brother, Ernie Rule, gets a very big shout out. I was able to tag along with him and some of his business school buddies for a very fun weekend. That also was one of his buddy Mike Gold's birthday. Ernie actually was responsible for giving me the ticket to he went Big Brother, good benevolent Big Brother on me, where he gave me the lanyard to the NFL tailgate party, and he walked around the parking lot for an hour so I could go in and shoot footage and eat and drink. And it was all the reasons why sports are great, and also all the reasons why it breaks our heart. As somebody once said to me, though, most good stories start with a loss. So we're just getting started, Matt.
I love it, Paul. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Like I said, I didn't do the house cleaning before, but you can watch this episode on YouTube. Watch us on YouTube. Hit subscribe. Go to Beat LA Instagram. Click follow. Go to Beat LA Podcast TikTok. Hit follow. We love it. Everyone who follows will be getting the Beat LA merch, which is actually in manufacture production right now. We will be back. We don't know when we'll be back. We're going to maybe do a on and off. We're going to wait till baseball season pumps up. Me and Paul have to go some places for business, but we love this podcast. We love you, and Beat LA is going to live on.
Exactly. Everything Matt said. And of course, there's only one way to end this podcast, right, Matt?
Yeah. You want to say it or me?
You say it. I always get to say it. Let's see your version. Matt, cue you and
Beat LA.